to strap in and get ready.
The leaders in AFL SuperCoach are incoming, helping you win your leagues and climb up the rankings.
You're now listening to the Insight AFL Show with your hosts, Big Horse and Skitty.
G'day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Insight Fantasy Sports Round 6 review. It's a bit weird tonight. We got me behind the buttons, me through it all. The horse has decided to take a hiatus, and he's left me in charge for tonight, which is a dangerous place to be. But there's no better man I'd rather have beside me. Hurls, how are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. How are you? Looking forward to tonight. A little bit different. We normally have Horse pulling the strings and, moderating our conversation and telling us where to go and all of that. But he's trusted us. So I don't know if that means that there was no other alternatives or we're doing an okay job. So we'll go with the latter, hey?
Yeah, we'll hope it's the latter. Yeah, pretty much standard stuff. It's just no Horse tonight. We got me and Hurls instead. So I hope you're happy about it. Tonight, we will just go through every single game like we usually do on a wrap-up show. Yeah. Jeez, that's good. But quickly, before we jump into all that, we'll jump in pretty quick tonight. No mucking about. But tonight, the show is once again sponsored by Draftstars, Australia's #1 site for daily fantasy sports. Download the Draftstars app right now to compete against other sports fans across Australia and New Zealand for huge prize pools. No season-long commitment and no new contest to join every day. There is nothing like the thrill of Draftstars. To sign up to Australia's leaders in DFS, use the link in our description. It's the best way to show support to the show. This is not fantasy. This is Draftstars. And Hurls, we've been getting involved in the little Draftstars comp that we have going throughout every day.
Wow.
And it's good fun.
Yeah, we have. I'm enjoying it. Like, I'd never played Draftstars before, and then last week sort of whacked $50 in the account and played it. And for those of you who haven't joined us yet, if you're a Patreon, what we've been doing is setting up a little like Insight Sports League. So there's 20 places. And so 20 of us jump on. If there's a full 20, there's been 16 to 18 in most of them, and $10 each. And you pick your 9 players out of either one game or a whole day. So Saturday was, I think, 3 games. Today was just one game. And then, you get your fantasy points for each player and see what happens. I think there was 10 points between first to sixth with our Sunday comp. So that was a lot of fun. Bit of sledging in the WhatsApp channel too. So it was good.
That's it. Yeah, we're all just trying to catch up to Sammy Baker, the icon of Draftstars. We got him today. Yeah. So, without further ado, mate, I think we're good to just jump straight into the games.
Let's do it.
Yep, that's the right one. And first game, we see Brisbane versus Collingwood, and Collingwood were the pretty easy victors, and I'm sure the lady of your household was pretty happy with this game, how it went. And
stoked.
Yeah, we'll jump into Brisbane first, and Lachie Neale. Mate, he looks back to prime form, doesn't he?
He was. It was one of those. I mean, Neale this year's been a tale of two Lachie Neales. The tagged version of Lachie Neale, where he gets your 70s and 80s, and the untagged version, which we saw on Thursday night, where he got back to, 113. And so it's been a frustrating own. Hopefully he can get more untagged games than tagged games. But he was back to being the good Lachie Neale on Thursday anyway. Yeah,
that's it. And boy, I'm glad no one touched him in this game. And we probably needed it the way this weekend went. We see Noah Ainsworth there, 13 touches for 109 SuperCoach points. Mate, that was just all intercept marking, good kicking. It's a good game from him, and you probably can't expect that to happen too often. Same with Harris Andrews. Jasper Fletcher's a bit of an interesting one in a new half-back role, 91 SuperCoach points. He's going pretty good since he's been back there, and maybe he's stealing a bit of a light from our good mate Dane Zorko.
Yeah, I think it was really interesting on Thursday as well. Like, Collingwood were really happy to get that first possession and allow Brisbane to have it, but they shut down the centre. So, yeah, Zorko, the Seagull, was running through the centre every time, and they made sure he couldn't get the receive. And so it was down to the Answorths and Fletchers and these guys to do all the bulk of the short kicking and moving the ball, and it really made their life hard because they just couldn't move it. And then Collingwood got them on the counter and ran through the middle of the ground with handballs. So it was a really contrasting style game. As a Zorko owner, and for some stupid reason, I decided to whack the VC on him at the last second because I just got impatient. I think I thought, it's Thursday night, why not? Yeah, he had a 70, which is 3 poor scores in a row now for Dane, the not so magnificent.
Yeah. That's it. And he's one we'll probably bring up later when we talk about the guy in this game that really blew up, and it may be a potential trade out option. I don't know how deep you want to go into that topic just yet. But Levi Ashcroft, he's been a godsend when it comes to rookies this year, and him just being forward eligible now, it's just gorgeous to have. And I'm sure you'll agree, just stick him at F6 until at least the buys probably.
Yeah, I think he's going to be one of the last rookies that we probably look to move on. He's fieldable. He's pretty safe. You know, his floor has proven to be okay. I think he had one bad game in there, but the only thing to worry about, I guess, with all of our rookies, and we saw it. We'll talk about Trainer later on, I'm sure. These kids, they do give him a rest from time to time, and you know, does he get a sub game at some stage? And we just got to keep an ear out for any news that we can, so that if he does, we don't field him that week. That's probably the only risk.
Yep, that's it. Not much else to talk about. Obviously, Zorko, we spoke about a little bit. He probably lucked his way to a 70.
It was poor, yeah, really poor game.
Yeah.
I think the interesting one that, and I've written a little bit about this bloke in the Buy, Hold, Sell article that'll probably come out either tomorrow or Wednesday, and that's Will Ashcroft. Like, if you've got Will Ashcroft, what do you do? Because he's been fantastic. I think he got a poor first score, was 70 odd, but then he's got hundreds every week until this week, and then this week he's got a 40 something. So owners have got a choice to make. What do you do? I think if it was me, and I keep coming back to the question, what is each player's role in your team? If you've got Will Ashcroft, in my opinion, he's there as a stepping stone, not as a keeper. And so I think he's a sell this week because of that. Because if you don't sell him now, you're looking at, even if he scores 2 times 110s, he still drops another 40 or 50K after this week. And so for me, use the cash now. He's the stepping stone that you wanted. You can get up to a Dacos for about 80K, I think it is at the moment. Don't wait another week and then it becomes 120K and then 140K the week after, because that's his job done, right? Move on.
100%. Yeah. Will Ashcroft averaging 111 before this week. Tracks at 43, now up to a 154 break even. He probably is one you got to move on. And the same could sort of be said about Hugh McCluggage. I don't know if we call him a sell, but the first real down game for him, and it sort of was just a result on this Collingwood zone defense and not allowing Brisbane to just go through the middle, and really benefited them.
Completely shut out the corridor, which hurt those two blokes. Well, probably the three: Zorko, Will Ashcroft, and McCluggage were probably the 3 biggest sort of culprits there. That's where they love to run through, and Collingwood didn't let them, so it really hurt them. McCluggage is an interesting one. I did watch a video during the week that had the last week's leader. He was on the Skodfather's channel, and he bought McCluggage in. And I wonder, like, McCluggage is that one that he was hot, and he was number 1 rated up to this week. But now what do you do? Like, if he stays like this week, it becomes a problem. Like, you didn't get his big scores, and you've now got him, and you've got to hold him. But if you had him from the start, then you can probably make a different decision. So, again, it's team dependent what you're going to do with these kind of blokes.
Yeah, 100%. And another guy we'll just quickly touch on for Brisbane, who hopefully we might get as a rookie downgrade next week, in James Tunstall, scoring an 88, but only 58% time on ground is a bit of a worry for me. He probably sends his way back into the VFL. But, hopefully if he gets named, we can have a look at him next week. And moving on to Collingwood, mate, I think the big story, the number 35, Nick Dacos, he was unreal.
He was on fire. He's also going to feature in my buy, hold, sell, and no surprises for guessing that he'll be in the buy column this week.
Yeah.
The trouble now is that those of us who didn't jump on at the 585 last week now have to pay 606. I still think there's about 25 or 30k of value there from his starting price, so I'd still recommend you jump on if you can. But there's some dilemmas now. How do you do it when we didn't have the double downgrade options this week with or for me anyway, Gross not playing meant I only did one trade, so I didn't bank as much cash as I was hoping. And with Flynn showing up, which we'll talk about, I'm sure, in the next game as a potential cash cow, it means to get Dacos for me anyway, I have to sort of break my team a little bit. And I don't know if I want to do that, even though he'll probably rip Essendon apart on Anzac Day. His scores over the last 2 years have been something like 128 and 145, I think. So he loves the big stage. He's gonna kill us. Yeah,
that's it. And look, let's be honest. If you're not getting Nick Dacos this week, you're probably just death riding him until after his bye. Now he's probably going to be out of reach until then, and it's a big decision to make. It's probably the one that'll chop and change your team the most throughout this period, and it might be one to come back and bite in the ass if you fade him or if you buy him. It's a real decision maker.
It is, because I mean, if you don't go Dacos this week for teams like mine, you're now fading Bont, Butters, Dacos, who are the best three players in the game.
Yeah,
and if you do that for a month, it could be well intended to say, I'm going to wait till they come down in price after their buys and stuff like that. But it might be all over Red Rover by then if you haven't got these kind of players. And if they do happen to not have a down game and they get 130s plus every game, you start to get into some trouble. But this is why we love SuperCoach. This year is like no other. It's going to be really fascinating what coaches do over the next month.
That's it. Josh Dacos, a 119, pretty good from him. He's Houston back next week. Probably not looking at him, just especially this week with the guys that we're looking at, a Dacos, a Bonner Butters, these sorts of guys. We're not going to be able to get a Josh this week. Ned Long, on the other hand, mate, the horse brought him in, and I'm sure he's thrilled with a 96 from him. And this might be a guy we just missed out on, and it might be too little, too late.
Yeah, I was big on Ned Long last week in our chats. I don't know if I influenced Horse or not, but I was saying I really want to bring him in, but I just couldn't find a way to really do it without, because my plans at that stage was Dacos this week. So if I went to Ned Long, I was going to use cash last week that I wanted to save, and he did get the 90 odd that you wanted. I think this week is the watch for him. Like, what happens when Houston comes in? You would expect that. I mean, Dacos's performances with Ned Long are off the charts. So I think they'll stay with Ned Long in there over Perryman, for example. But up until last week, where Houston was in the team, Perryman was also sharing that midfield time, and Long was sub. So it'll be really interesting what they do, whether they share it, whether Ned Long keeps that CBA time. And if he does, he's going to be a great pick. You'll get your month of 80s to 100s, and he'll be someone you can use as a stepping stone rather than a rookie.
Yep, 100%, and it's very handy. When we're looking at Collingwood, it's always really been Nick Dacos or bust. There's not too many guys we can look at. Darcy Cameron, 90, decent game for him. If you like the look of Darcy, I think we're probably all on a bit of a Gorn train at the minute, especially after the game he just had. He was phenomenal. And if you don't have him, he's probably the number one ruck to buy. I'm sure we'll jump into it. Yeah, besides that for Collingwood, mate, not much else going on. Harry Perryman, 32. It's not pretty.
Nah, it isn't. He, I think we probably would take some comfort in the fact that we picked the role correctly. We just picked the wrong bloke. We thought Perryman's going to be that sort of CBA number 3 at Collingwood, and it's ended up being Ned Long. So we had the right idea. We just got it wrong.
Yeah, that's it. And as we move into the next game, mate, which is Carlton absolutely taking the piss out of North Melbourne, this is brought to you by the Standard Squeeze, the Insight Fantasy Sports Day 1 sponsor. This segment is brought to you by the Standard Squeeze, who are helping you drink responsibly and conveniently. Go to standardsqueeze.com and use the code on screen, IFS 2025, for 15% off everything in your store. Now, I know I haven't been lucky enough to win a Standard Squeeze prize pack or nothing like that, but I know the boys love the products there. and they'll talk night and day about him. So when we're talking North versus Carlton, on the North side of things, Tristan Sherry 144. Do you think this was a bit lucky? I feel like
I think
it deserved a
I think so.
144.
I agree. I thought TDK was really influential in the game, and I thought Sherry wasn't. But like someone said in the chat during the week, like rucks who tackle is like a bit of a cheat code. Like he had 11 tackles, so he's obviously got a heap of points from those, those contested situations. But I didn't think he had a great impact on the game. But if you were thinking about bringing Sherry in at some stage, that's sort of now reset his break evens. He was on the slide up until this week. I think he's something like 550,000 now or something like that. And with still a relatively high break even. So he's not going to jump up too much. It's certainly something to think about when you do go to Sherry. I mean, my thought was always second half of the year was where I wanted to get onto Sherry. And until we see Shitnet back in the team and killing TDK, I won't be making any ruck changes. So we'll see.
That's it. And maybe if you liked the 3 ruck strategy from the start, it's a potential. You get Matt Flynn in this week, makes you 200k. You flip him to Sherry for next to nothing, realistically. And that might be the way to do it if you like the 3 rucks. Yeah.
It's a fair shout. It's going to be interesting. I'm probably going to bring in Flynn this week, and I've never had the 3rd ruck in flex. I want to see what it does to flexibility. One thing I did notice when I was mucking around with my team just before we jumped on was with a lot of DPPs, even with your flex lock, you can still do moves. So I don't know that it's going to be that bad now that DPP change happened, where we've got a lot of mid forwards, we've got a lot of defense forwards and all that kind of stuff. So I just want to test that out with Flynn there and see whether that's something that's worth thinking about for the run home.
Yeah, that's it. Caleb Daniel, just doing Caleb Daniel things, just being the seagull that he is. 88 SuperCoach points, probably a bit of a down game for his standards, which is insane to say from a guy who was 270k to start the season. Paul Curtis, he was really good in this game, I thought. Harry Sheasel, mate, he's another interesting one. After watching this game back, I didn't think he was too terrible. 32 touches, 6 tackles for 86 SuperCoach points. But there has been some tinkering going on, and we may be looking at ways to get him out if we need this Nick Dacos bloke.
Yeah, look, I'm not committing to this because I don't want to move Sheasel on. But the only way I can get a Dacos or one of those Uber Primos this week is to do something a bit funky with my team. And the first little tinkering I did was with Sheasel. And the only reason that I'm even toying with the idea is the role is going to be a little bit spiky, I feel. Like he's got 32 touches. He's got 86 SuperCoach points. A lot of those points were late. He really was struggling early. Now, I hope for North Melbourne's sake, they're not uncompetitive for the whole year and that they potentially are in games a lot more. And Sheasel, you would imagine, is going to be the catalyst when they are in games for longer. So I'm not by any stretch, please don't hang me out there in the community saying, this guy's telling us to trade our primos. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just watch the role. And, if you do have to do something a bit funky, and we said this on the preview show, actually, if you're coming 30, 40,000th and you've got your only way you can see of making up some ground is bringing in a Bont or a Butters, then what do you got to lose, really? That's the kind of scenario where I think it might be a play, but for the most of us, we'll be holding Sheasel.
Yeah, that's it. And look, there might even be a sneaky role change for Sheasel next week. We'll have to see how that goes with Zach Fisher going down with a hamstring injury. And realistically, unless you bring someone up from the VFL, you down a backman. And Tom Power probably just takes Sheasel CBAs. I don't know. I could see a little switch there. We'll discuss that with the squid on Wednesday, I'm sure. But potentially, not guaranteed though. Aiden Core 83, we don't care. Luke Parker was pretty decent with a 78. Josh Simpkins 78 as well. If you started them guys, they've done well for you. It's probably almost time to move them on though. Georgie Wardlaw was good in return. LDU, mate, he has been, fair to say, pretty bad SuperCoach wise to start this season. 25 touches for 72 points. Is there
He's
a world
leaking.
where we can touch an LDU at a 450k in the coming weeks if he keeps this sort
Um,
of scoring up?
Look, he's leaking cash significantly. I think he might even get down somewhere in the low 400s
Yeah.
in sort of the coming weeks. Look, he's never been one that I've loved, but if you jumped on him last year in the back half of the year, where he was in the top 10 for midfielders in the run home, those last sort of 10 or 12 weeks, maybe you've got a bit more faith that he can do that again. I just think there's a lot of, and this is maybe part of North's problem. They've drafted so many midfielders
Yeah.
that they've got so many people running through there. You know, Wardlaw is going to hopefully stay fit, and he looked great, so he'll be in the middle. Sheezer we've been talking about. Powell is there, and Simpkin, and there's just too many of them. So it's not someone I'm probably going to bring in, but you just never know with SuperCoach. It is a trading game, so if you get to the right price, who knows?
That's it. And when it comes to North, there's not much else going on there. Colby McCarthy with a 52. Hope he keeps leaking cash because 250k, I have my eyes on him. But we'll move on to Carlton, and I think the big talking point out of this game as well is one George Hewitt and how well he's been to start this season. Because my God, it's no one would have predicted this.
Nah, he's playing just like a man possessed, and he has done it in patches before. He's never done it.
Yeah.
I don't think to this extent and consistently. But he's, look at his stat line: 34 touches, 9 tackles. Tackles are just such a bonus if you can win the footy and you're getting tackles. It's a great thing for SuperCoach, and 171 is massive. If you've got him, just ride that pod all the way. If you haven't, so be it. You can't do much about it now. You're not going to be chasing a George Hewitt at his new price, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, you can't possibly go for a George Hewitt at 611k with a 58 break even. Mate, he could be 650k in 2 weeks or even next week if he goes bang again, averaging 128. He's making it real hard to ignore him and how well he's been. But we say this most times, there's got to be one down game coming.
Yeah. And round 12 bye as well for Carlton, so it's just a hard one to jump on. Like if I'm going to jump on someone at that kind of price, Dacos, Butters, and Bont are the 3 that I'd be breaking my team for, not George Hewitt. That doesn't mean that they'll work out well and he won't, but that's just my view.
Yeah, 100%. There's definitely also some potential switches where even Hewitt's probably now the main tag target because Paddy Cripps, mate, he's been pretty irrelevant to start this year, for honest. And somehow he would have got the 3 votes in this game. But
it's one to watch. If he gets 3 votes for this, the umpires are really not watching. It's one of those ones with Cripps that his SuperCoach relevance, I think, is probably dropped over the last couple of years because he's just too contested. He doesn't win any other footy. So, last week, I think he managed to get nearly 100 or just over 100, but he kicked the 3 goals late. He's probably got to do something out of the ordinary to be really relevant, but he is going to be, what am I looking at? He's at 505, dropped now this week to 483.
484, yeah.
Yeah. So, he's probably going to get down to 450 as well. So, look, some people might like a pod. It's not my play, but some people might like that kind of thing.
Yeah, these are sort of the Portland primos that when we get to it, they're probably ones that can save your season if you're real far back. These sort of pods that are 450k and then just go bang. Adam Chera, if you started with him, you'd be happy. I'd say you definitely wouldn't be sad. You'd just be still riding the wave, I guess. He hasn't done anything wrong.
Really interesting one, Chera, because he was always a stepping stone for me, but he's scoring so well that, like, a part of me, like 3 weeks ago, was like, well, it's a pretty easy decision when Dacos bottoms out, and it's Chera to Dacos. That was just a no brainer. But I'm reluctant now to do it because Chera's doing what I want him to do, like for the sake of making a trade. What's the point, really? And we know that Carlton have still got West Coast and North again before round 16. So I think probably I'm leaning towards holding Chera all the way through till there now.
Yeah, and what I mean. He was sort of always regarded as the stepping stone to a guy like a Dacos or a Bon or a Butters when they came back. But he's just doing his job. He's averaging 107, got a 74 break even this week. You probably think he hits that with the way he's going. So, just ride it through for now.
Yep, absolutely.
Sam Walsh, he's been pretty good the past couple of weeks. Probably not one we're looking at just yet, though. Charlie Curnow, I mean, he was sort of always bound to have a game like this. I didn't think he was even that great, to be fair, and he still got the 105. But we don't care about him after what he did to us end of last year.
Dead. He's dead to me.
Tom De Koning cranked out 100. I thought he was fine until Pitnett comes back in, mate. He's just sat there. I'm not even looking at him. He's fine.
Yeah, I'm the same. I know some people in the community are saying, do we move on De Koning? And I think if you play fantasy, I think it's a bit different. Like his fantasy score was 62, and his SuperCoach score was 100. So if you're a fantasy player, I sort of understand it. But if SuperCoach, like we are, he's doing everything we want him to do until that changes, or until we see that they change their philosophy and go with 2 rucks and what that does, then I'm not touching him.
Yeah, that's it. Next man on the scoring list with a 98, Corey Durden. He's a bit of an interesting one, mate. So he's on the bubble this week with a negative 66 break even at 208K. He went 91 against West Coast into 98 against North. It's probably just come at an unfortunate time, and he's just too expensive at this rate, just with Flynn being an option as well. But
what's his price?
208K at the minute on the bubble.
Yeah, probably because of the role, that price is probably a little bit too much. Like if you're going to go to an overpriced rookie, you're probably thinking Flynn at this stage, just because one's in the ruck and the other one's a small forward. I mean, Carlton aren't going to kick 153 points every week, so
no, that's it. It's just unfortunate timing for him. Jack Silvani's been good down back. We touched on Cripps. There's not much else really going on for Carlton besides them in this game. So I think we can safely move on to flag dons.
This is get out of jail free. We used our get out of jail free card here.
Look, we say flag dons, but geez, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't a pretty game. And we'll speak on one of the blokes that definitely actually had me worried. Matt Flynn. He was impressive. He was really, really good.
He was. Look, I don't know whether you got the quarter by quarter sort of breakdown or not.
I definitely didn't.
His fantasy score is relatively even, but I was just trying to think, did he get huge scores after Draper went down with his Achilles? But fantasy wise, not so much.
He sort of just kept getting spike scores every time he took one of them contested intercept marks, and just went up heaps. And then just the effective kick straight after that. That's where he was getting most of his points from. And then just the occasional hit out win. I don't think he went too crazy after Draper went down, to be fair. I think it was just a natural progression throughout the game. And just he took some good marks right at the end of the game. And obviously in a close game, Scaling's going to love that. So
yeah. And I think with Flynn, if you're bringing him in this week, which I think I am, he's 260K. His break-even is negative 73, I think it is, something around that mark. You're looking at needing him to go at about 90s, and it's just a 3-week hold, right? And you're making 150 with so much uncertainty around rookies. I think this presents itself a little bit like Marriage, that when Marriage popped up a little while ago, that you're going to think his floor as a ruckman is going to be safer than your other rookies. And so if he's getting 90s, and it takes like this week, it would have taken a Zach Reed's 38 off the field for me if I had Flynn in flex, because I had Cleary, and Cleary's dropped off with a 30. There's an automatic 50 points a week. What might not be 50 every week, but let's say on average it might be, and you're going to make your 150,000 that you would expect to make out of a rookie. So I think it's just a play you have to take advantage of. It's not one I was looking for. I don't like the player. I think if you started him at the start of the year with this cash in mind, and you dropped him because Mini did you a dirty and dropped him after round 1, it might be a harder one to bring in because you're going
Yeah.
out then back in. But I didn't start him, so I think I'm just going to take the opportunity and bring him in and make the cash.
Yeah, that's it. You'd be filthy if you traded him out like last week or the week before if you had him at R2.
Yeah, there were so many people that had him at R2 and even held him through the best 18 rounds, thinking, well, let's see if he comes back. Let's see if he comes back. He even held him out one more week on him, and so they had to trade. A lot of them went Flynn to Briggs, and Briggs shit the bed this week. It's just the perfect storm of shitness if that was your situation. But that's SuperCoach. Brutal. That happens sometimes.
Yeah, that's it. And look, we'll probably get a question later on. Is he a must-have? It just depends what you class a must-have. I think he probably is, just due to the fact that he's going to make so much money. And he's going to score at least 80s just for stepping on the field, let's be honest. He scored an 87 in round 1 while Jared Witts had 68 hitouts against him or something.
Exactly.
He did nothing in that game and got an 87. So I think it's probably one that's good scores and going to make you money. It's probably one you're just going to have to bite the bullet and do, as much as we hate the bloke. Jeremy McGovern, he was good in his return, 111. Is he top 6 backman again? Probably. Where do you sit? Probably top 10, maybe?
I think, look, scoring-wise, I think he can be top 6 to 10, but durability-wise, you've got to start to question it at his age, although he did come back. What did he have, an adductor, and he only missed 2 weeks. So he's clearly pretty fit. I don't know. Already having Marich and having a few dead rookies, Bo Allen and Clay Hall, and now I'm bringing Flynn in. I'm not bringing any more West Coast blokes in. It's like it's too many.
That's it. We sort of discussed this last week that we're just done with West Coast. Minnie hates them all, hates everyone, doesn't like SuperCoach. Jack Williams and Jake Waterman, we'll put them together because they both had me worried for a while there as Essendon boys. They were good, especially Jake Waterman in that first quarter. He had me on the ropes. Elijah Hewitt, if you held him, well done to you. He's got a 97 now. Probably not one. You did discuss this, though, the other night, that he might be one you could bring back in.
Yeah, I think he goes to about 180-something after that game. Again, I think he's going to make bulk cash. West Coast love him. We knew that. We called that all preseason. He just had that unlucky injury. He got dropped, and, I mean, I traded him. Some who held, well done. You're going to be laughing now because you've got now a cash-generating rookie. Because I'm picking up Flynn, I can't go Hewitt as well, I don't think. I mean, I'm not going to boost to pick up Flynn and Hewitt. So I just think it depends on your team, but he's a player, that's for sure.
That's it. Ryan Marich, what a pickup he's been. Just keep going in that seagull role, mate. We'll hold you to for as long as we need. Tim Kelly was decent in his return.
Kelly did what they would have wanted. I think the interesting thing for Marich, and there was some argument about what does McGovern do for Ryan Marich. They shared the kick-ins 5-4. Essendon didn't kick too many behind, so there wasn't a huge amount back there. But I think what we did see was even when McGovern was taking the kick-ins, then Marich was still involved in the chain, right? So I think we're going to just sit on Marich until he starts to look like he's tiring or they're changing his role or something, and leave him at F5 for a while and then worry about it later.
Yeah, that's it. And that was sort of when the whole big McGovern coming back in, Ryan Marich is done sort of thing. I was thinking McGovern would take the kick in and just kick it straight to Marich anyway. Yeah. So it didn't really matter. Anyway, West Coast-wise, not much else going on SuperCoach relevance besides all the way down the bottom with an 11, Tom Gross. And this was just really unfortunate for people who jumped on.
Yeah, it was. We were chatting a lot about this one, and it was in my trade plans all week. I was planning on going Moraes to Gross to free up about 100,000 or 80,000 or whatever it was going to do. When he was announced sub, I reversed it because I mean, he's still the rumor was that he was just being managed like many of the 18-year-olds get managed, and so you would expect that he plays now. But the trouble is, in that week he didn't play, Hewitt has stepped into that midfield and played well. Kelly did his job. Like all these, like, does that now mean he's still on the fringes again? It's another one. Like I already had Clay Hall, who looks dead now. This guy, I didn't want to jump on him as well. If you've got him, you have to ride it now because he hasn't made any money yet. But it's unfortunate.
That's it. Yeah, it's really unfortunate. No, I was surprised to say the least that he was named the sub. I get the management factor, but he was the only one putting effort into that West Coast team against Carlton, and yeah, it really shocked me. But we'll move on to Essendon, mate, and Nick Martin. What a man! We'll say that. What a man!
He loves playing West Coast. It's obviously that he was in front of their nose, and they didn't pick him, so he loves it. He played really well. I think the trouble is he played really well, but he's also been playing a lot of wing the last few weeks.
Yeah.
So it's going to be really spiky. So I am thinking he's an option as an F6 later in the year, but I'm not going to go too early because, well, one, that 145 that he got this week means that his price isn't at the level you would want to jump on anyway. No. But the other thing is the role, I think, could have some ups and downs. And I'd rather that be one of my last upgrades if I was going to go there in the forward line rather than go now and then you're copping some 120s followed by some 60s.
Yeah, that's it. Peter Wright, he was. I'd love for him to score 145 SuperCoach points every game, but it's just not going to happen. Zach Merritt, people who brought him in, whether it be last week or this week, you'd still be okay with a 106, and he's still got a good chunk of matchups coming up.
Yeah, to be honest, I had him captain. I hate having Essendon players, so I thought, why not double down and make him captain and make it even more of an interesting watch. At halftime, I thought my season was just about stuffed. He was on 33. He eked out 106. I thought it was probably his poorest game for over a year. But that's credit to him because he doesn't have too many bad ones. And if that's the worst he's ever playing, you give him a mulligan and you move on, right? Like he's still contributed.
Yeah, he'll still be top 8 quite comfortably. Next bloke on the list, a bit of a sour topic, Sam Draper. He was looking phenomenal. I know that the Squid was very high on him and brought him in. It's really just unfortunate for him with the Achilles rupture and he's out for the rest of the season. And it's sort of just, it sucks for him and it sucks for Essendon's draft ruck stocks as well with him and Brian going down.
Yeah, but, 2 in 2 weeks, and I did feel for the poor bloke, but mainly because Essendon supporters have been critical of Draper over the last few years because of some of the lairising and he's an extrovert and he likes doing the flashy. I thought this year he's the fittest he's ever been, the hardest he's ever working, giving the right options, doing the right things, and then unfortunately he's struck down. So move on. Hopefully he has a good recovery, and next year he can be back and sign a new contract somewhere in the next 6 months or so.
Yep, that's it. Setterfield played all right again. He's probably holding his spot, which sucks for Elijah Sardis. But the next bloke on the list, Jackson Pryor with a 92. I think almost everyone and their dog had the emergency on him. And if you could get him on field, happy days. He performed real well.
Yeah, just a reminder for us, I guess, that with these rookies, you can't predict which one of them's going to get the 90 and which one of them's going to get the 30. Like, if you asked me before the game, was it going to be Pryor or Reid? There's no way I would have said Pryor.
I would have.
But it went that way. So I think it's great for Cash Gen. I'm happy that, even though I couldn't take his score this week, he's going to keep going up in price now. And that's a good thing for us from a Cash Gen point of view.
100%. Looking down the list, mate, Isaac Kako. Probably can hold him for one more week, I'd guess. 31 break even this week. I'd say it's a pretty safe hold. But he's probably one that you can sell if you need to. If you don't really have anyone else. Yeah. Unfortunately,
we've got a handful of them that are just slow burns. They're not doing anything. There's him. There's Connor Stone. There's all these guys that are they're trickling $10,000 profits each week, and it's just not what we want. But I certainly don't know that he'll be the one that I'll get rid of because I think, barring again a rest at some stage, he's got great job security, and I can't say that about all of them.
Yeah, that's it. Further down the list, Zach Reid there with a 38. Not ideal. Most people had him on field. He's still got a fine break even. It's 14 thanks to his 100 plus last week against Melbourne. But he's probably sort of lands in a similar boat where it's just, can you field him? Is he going to continue making cash after this week, or what's the go with him, do you reckon?
Yeah, look, probably with that break even I'm holding, but I wouldn't talk anyone out of trading someone like him. I think, if your backline looks like Bice at D5, Zach Reed at D6, Pryor D7, Trainer D8, if you've got those four to choose from, I'd probably rank the trade outs as Trainer first just because of the sub game.
Yeah.
And I think he will make as much money, if not more money, from here than those other, at least Reed and Pryor. But you have to wait a month for it. So probably Trainer's the first one you could move. Then Reed's probably next, and Pryor. Even though Pryor, I reckon, has got the worst on-field scoring ability, because he's got the 90, you probably got to hold him now. Yeah,
that's it. And Bice is just doing his job. And if you have Connor O'Sullivan like me, we're getting rid of him this week. We don't want nothing to do with him with his 85 break even. It's time to go for Connor O'Sullivan. And another sub-affected player in this game as well was Sardell Hawley, only getting on to score a 4. And it's just the same sort of boat as Gross. If you jumped on him, it just sucks. It's annoying.
Yeah. I think with this one, I sort of understand it. I think he's going to be sub most times he plays. It's just the way it is in the Essendon pecking order and the way they set this up. So, he was never an option for me.
Yeah, it does interest me that Xavier Dersman did cop a shot to the ribs, and apparently he's going to be okay, but it does make me wonder if maybe, they have El Hawley not as the sub next week to give Dersmer a little bit more of a rest, or how that's going to work out. We'll see. Like, if you've got an El Hawley or a Gross, you just got to hold at this point, and it's bloody annoying. So before we jump into our next game of Melbourne and Fremantle, we're going to listen to this gorgeous American guy just have a chat about our Patreon.
Want to take your SuperCoach game to the next level? Inside Fantasy Sports are bringing you exclusive content all year round, such as weekly expert Q&As, team, trade, and captaincy advice, statistical deep dives, priority podcast questions, and tons more. So what are you waiting for? Get full access to the experts. Go to patreon.com/Insight Fantasy Sports and subscribe to Insight Unlimited today.
100%.
Jump in. Coffee a week. There's plenty of articles we're writing. I mean, your write-ups of the second tier, and I know we've had a few comments in chat in our WhatsApp about people starting to think about, what do we do with Murphy Reed? What do we do with these guys who are now 300k rookies, and where do we go? If you're not a Patreon, join up, because you can start to read about VFL, SANFL, waffle numbers. This is where this next lot of cash cows are coming from, right? So for the cost of a coffee a week, jump in.
That's it. You get the buy, hold, sell article. You get a captain's article from our very own Doc. There's a bunch of good stuff, plenty of banter. Just jump in. It's a good time in there. Now, mate, moving on, Melbourne versus Fremantle. A bit of a close game, this one. Melbourne got up in the end, and good on them. I reckon they definitely deserve this one.
I enjoyed this game, even though I was, as an Essendon fan, was hoping Melbourne lose every week. I think when a team, this round was a reminder, when a team's got their back against the wall and they do something about it at selection, you just got to be a bit weary. Like, they dropped Fritsch, they dropped Van Rooyen, they weren't getting it done in that forward half. They went with different blokes who, Petty up forward, kicked 3, and they went with Disco Turner down back, even though Kelly Underwood called him bloody on the ground after he got subbed and all sorts of shit. We won't sort of go there. But it was good to see a team just to come back from the dead, really, because their forward line was horrible, and then this week it worked. Cozzy Pickett ran amok, obviously.
Yeah. It came off the back of them top 3: Cozzy Pickett, Max Gawn, and Jack Viney. I thought were quite comfortably all 3 the best players on the ground. Jack Viney especially, I thought was phenomenal. But Cozzy Pickett, 24 touches, 5 goals, 134 SuperCoach points. It's just one of them spike games. We're probably not looking to bring him in.
Nah, I don't think so. Like the hard part with Cozzy is like this week he had, where are we? Like 68% CBAs. So they clearly wanted him around the ball. That freed him up to run inside 50 and kick goals as well. But teams aren't going to let that happen every week. So I don't think he's an SC sort of buy, even though, if you've got him in draft or if he was available in draft because you had that suspension and you're looking at your waivers, that's probably where he's relevant.
Yeah, cheering. 91, 81 into a 134, and he's got Richmond and West Coast this next 2 weeks. He'd be laughing if you owned Cozzy Pickett in draft. Max Gawn, he was good. He's back to his up there with his best now. It's good to see after a few down weeks last season.
I thought he was exceptional on Saturday. I thought he was probably a little underscored, if I'm really honest.
Oh, I agree.
But that's the way it goes. I think the interesting thing will be now in the next couple of weeks with I think he's got Nank this week. And then Flynn. You would expect Flynn is okay because he'll be able to jump, and what he's got back in the last 2 or 3 weeks is that need of the guts, grab the footy out and get a possession. And he wasn't doing that in the first 2 rounds. So I think that probably shows that he's fit. I don't know if he'll do that against Nank, but he certainly should against Flynn the week after.
100%. He loves games against Nank. His last 2, he went 162 and 1174. So
there you go.
You never know. He could pop again. And
VC on we've only got a 2-day turnaround. So the Thursday night game, we could VC the big Maxi maybe.
Probably looking at it myself. Jack Viney, as I said, he was sensational. Probably not one of this Melbourne midfield we're looking at. Jake Bowie, he's been pretty good off half back to start this year, 116. Trent Rivers, he was decent as well. Tom McDonald, for some reason, he's the SuperCoach god. He averages about 80 every year, and I never know how. Harvey Langford, if you started with him, you probably cheering to this point now after a few sub-affected games and the like.
Yeah, one of those rookies that, they just trundled along. It wasn't looking that great. You probably got to the break-evens and thought, I've got to piss him off. And now he's come good. So sometimes you got to just have a look at the role that they play. If they're in the middle, you don't have to get rid of everyone just because their break-even's getting up there, because the rookies don't drop a lot in price. So, if you held him, well done. I think the other 2 for Melbourne probably, Oliver is a fixture hold, I think, for the next 2 weeks. But I am certainly thinking he's one that I might be using as a stepping stone now rather than a keeper, even if he goes really well in the next couple of weeks. He's going okay. He's getting his 90s. He's not a problem, but I just don't think he's the 130 bloke that you could get to with 80 or 90 grand, right? And the other one, Lindsay resets his break even this week. So if you've got him, you would have already seen the apps open. Even though he got a pretty ordinary score, and you might be a bit frustrated if you had 55 on field, he resets his break even because the 9 drops out. So he only needs another couple of 55s and he starts to make a bit of cash again. So hold on to him.
Yeah, that's it. And Petrarca, probably not interested just yet. He's probably, to me, he lands in the same boat as Martin, potential F6 type of player in a couple of weeks if we get to there.
Yeah, depending on what you're doing, like. If I can't, I can get to track, but I can't get to Dacos really comfortably. So if I went Flynn, a rookie, and did a boost, I can just get rid of rookies to get track in. So it's something I'm thinking about because of the fixture. But I don't expect that he's going to be the old track anymore. But at F6, maybe he doesn't need to be either at $480,000. So he could be someone you could think about. Just depends on what your cash in the bank looks like, what your plans are this week. Like if you're going to Dacos and you're going to Flynn, you're not going to Petrarca as well. Or if you are, you've robbed a bank or something. But,
that's it. I wish I had your money.
Yeah, exactly.
On the Freo side of things, Andrew Brayshaw, he's been a fantastic starting option and captain option near every week as well. It's been phenomenal to have him.
The contrast between him and Sarong's been massive, hasn't it? And before the start of the year, I know we spoke about this a lot. And, I was initially, all my team picker teams had Sarong, not Brayshaw. And then I started with Brayshaw. I thankfully woke up. That was one move I did make in my starting team that worked. And yeah, he's just added the tackles to his game. He's added the contested side that wasn't there, and so he's great. And they don't go to him; they go to Sarong, so that helps.
Yep, 100%. I think I'm right in saying he might be one of about 3 players that hasn't dropped under 100 so far this year. So yeah, phenomenal. He's been great. Shai Bolton, probably once again his best game in a Freo strip. He was really good. Caleb Sarong, we just spoke about. They were having this chat last night. I can't remember what podcast it was, unfortunately, but they were just talking about what the go is with Sarong. And I know Jonas has dropped in a stat in our chat last week that I still think about actually. Sarong's only gone over 120 3 times in the past 20 something games. So
yeah,
it's interesting to think about. He hasn't done anything wrong, but he hasn't really popped either.
Yeah. I think that's a good summation. Like he's done nothing wrong. He's probably got hundreds against the tags. So
Yeah.
So if you owned him, you would have probably been relieved at the end of each game, going, "Oh well, at least he got 100." But at that price, you want a ceiling score every second or third week, don't you? And he's not given those big 140s. He did it once this year, I think, but yeah, it's not enough.
Yeah, that's it. Jordan Clark, he does the same thing every single week. He got a 94. So sometimes he'll go 110, sometimes he'll go 90. I'm fine with him in my defense at the minute. Hayden Young, he's good as he's been good as they're building his minutes up. Murphy Reed, now this is one I've always been jealous of you having. He was once again great, mate. Old Brucey, he's bloody good.
I love watching him too. He's one of those guys that, he's like, and there's not too many of these blokes that I'd identify that are like this, but he's a bit like Ryan Myers. Like he gets the ball and he makes things happen, and he kicks that lateral 45-degree kick and sets up teammates. I think he's got 5 or 6 goal assists. They keep saying in the coverage every week.
Yeah.
So he's just one of those players. Now he's got an 82 this week. He's liable to get a 50 here and there as well. He's getting up towards the stage of the year where I have to think about, do I move him on? He's not at the break-even maximum yet, but if I need his cash, he might be one that I move. So I don't know. I've got to just weigh up what do I do there. And if you're an owner like me, he's probably at that stage where he's already majored nearly 200,000, I think. So you can jump off if you need to, but you don't have to.
Yep, that's a perfect way to put it. Luke Ryan, 79 as well. He's continuing to plummet cash. It's been pretty poor for people that have started and brought in Luke Ryan. It's been bad for him. And the rest of Freo, there's not much else going on. Sean Darcy's dropping cash very quickly. And yeah, besides that, not much else. We can probably swiftly move on to probably the what people thought was going to be the game of the round, and it ended up being probably the most boring game of the round in Adelaide versus GWS.
This was yuck. Like if you ever wanted to define a game as yuck, this was
gross.
it. It was. I mean, the rain did come, but even before the rain came, it was just Adelaide won territory and pushed GWS into their forward 50, which is why you'll notice Whitfield got 1 million touches, Ash got 1 million touches, Iden got 1 million touches, Callahan ran back in defensive 50, got 1 million touches. They just were playing kick to each other in their defensive 50s. They couldn't move the ball. It was a masterclass by Adelaide, but it was just a yuck game to watch.
Yeah, it was a pretty gross game to watch, and it's probably a game Matthew Nix loved. He would have loved keeping GWS to 34 points.
Yeah.
Jordan Dawson, he was pretty fine with the 113, and pretty good that he avoided the tag for owners.
He just can't kick. If he could go at 60%, he'd be getting 150s. But he is someone that probably will be on our radars soon, because I think he's going to drop to that sort of 500 grand mark. And he was one that when he got under 500 last year, I picked him up and he was brilliant for me on the run home. But his kicking efficiency is killing him at the moment.
Yeah, that's it. Alex Neil-Bullen was good with the 112. Tex got a 100. Mitch Hinge with the 98. Matt Crouch, 97. Besides that, there's Rankin an 86.
Frustrating.
It was a frustrating game.
Yeah. He does some great things and then he goes missing. He's a frustrating own at the minute, Rankin. And at the start of the year, I was, I faded him. Then I moved Pickles to him. and he started frustrating me a little bit. Not as much as Pickles because I do like Rankin, but his scoring just seems to be going great guns and then just stops, and all of a sudden he's on 65 and he gets nothing for a quarter.
Yeah, he's a weird player. I would love to own him at some point, but boy, I don't know if I'm ready for it just yet. For people that brought in Saligo, whether it was 2 weeks ago, I can't think it was 2 weeks ago, is when he was looking primed. Unfortunately, got the Bedford tag. There's not much you can do about it. Still got 22 touches. You probably just hold and move on past that Bedford tag. Just unfortunate that your guy was the one to cop it, really.
Yeah. I think, it was just one of those games, really. There's not a lot to be said about much in this game because I don't think there'll be another game played like this for the year.
Yeah, no, it's hard to take anything out of this game. One thing we can take out of it, moving to the GWS side of thing, Lockie Whitfield can kick a football. He can kick a football.
He's the best. He loves chips. Lockie. He's a seagull. He's a dead set seagull. As an owner, I was loving the little chip kicks he was getting and then passing it up. But I mean, it's our man Ryan is Lockie Whitfield.
Yeah.
Isn't he?
We can stick old Ryan up. Ryan from Astute Newstead, Winnie Blues, all the works. Hit up Ryan and when you chat to him, use the promo code INSIGHT. He'll sort you out for free all your residential home loan needs. Look, good. Decent mustache. I'll give him his flowers. Decent bloke too. So I guess I'll give him that. But yes, he is Lockie Whitfield's personal sponsor. We have to give him his credit there. Tree's in the chat. Yeah, that's it. Lockie Whitfield for me has been a very annoying non-own. I really want to get him because he just every single time I think, there's a chance he's going to lose some coin here after the game last week, he goes and busts out at 145 and now I've got to wait a bit longer. So
it was what I bought him in last week, and obviously he spat out an 85.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking, geez, this could really hurt. Like you pick up someone at, I think it was 605 or something like that. He spat out the 85, but then the 140 this week made up for it. So I was happy with that.
Yeah, that's it. Connor Ryden, once again, been pretty good all year. It's just all these GWS back guys got plenty of ball just because of how much they got trapped back there.
Yeah, kick to kick. I mean, even old mate Connor Stone got a fair bit of the ball, and how he only got 40. That was like maybe I'm just a disgruntled owner and hate champion data sometimes, but I thought he was way better than a 40. There's been weeks where he hasn't touched it, and this week he was involved. He was getting a bit of footy. What did he get? He ended up
14
with 14 touches. Like that's okay, and he ended up with a 40 still. That was a bit stiff, I thought.
I'm just trying to find what his kicking efficiency was. He went at 50%, so
that's
it's probably good for Connor Stone at this stage. Tom Green, he's just been good. That's all I can say. 117, 36 touches. He's probably a guy that we potentially like. He's not a must-have at any point. He'd be a nice-to-have.
Yeah, he's going to be one of those guys that's going to just get you your 115s, right? He'll probably end up M9, M10 for the year. And you think if you've got him, that's I'm not even paying any attention. He's just going okay.
Yep, that's it. Finn Callahan rewarding holders with a 116. I know Mick is a very happy holder. And by happy, I mean he's trading him out this week even after the 116. So
It was a good game from Finn. He, like I said earlier, he pushed back in D50 to get involved in those chains. So he played well. But I think if you've still got him, it was by nature of being probably lucky about your trade cadence. So take that luck and get him out, I reckon.
Yeah, that's it. Lockie Ash, once again, he's been great this year. Just the same sort of thing as Whitfield. Just a lot of these guys that push back into D50. Like you don't get an attacker until Darcy Jones is 74. And even then, there's still not much going on. Toby Green finally had a down game, only scoring a 30. And Kieran Briggs, mate, people that brought him in would be spewing with a 27.
Yeah, it was a real disaster. Like we said earlier, some people who went Flynn at R2, then went to Briggs because he'd bottomed out, and turns out he hadn't bottomed out. He's given them that score. So sometimes the game's really cruel. Like there's nothing wrong with the thinking or the logic behind any of those moves.
Yeah.
And sometimes it just sucks and you can't do much about it. And you just have to go, all right, what do I do now? Like, go something different. Try experiment something next week and see if you can't, salvage something out of the wreckage.
Yeah, that's it. Moving on to the next game, we have Richmond getting up in an upset over Gold Coast. And I thought this was a good game, and I thought Richmond played phenomenal, especially the man at the top, Nick Vlastuin, with a 165. He was just everywhere in that first half, mate. It was insane to watch.
I think it really showed, you can talk about the ways to rebuild. I think, and let's park the Bolters court stuff to the side and just talk footy. Having Bolter and Vlostone back there, having Lynch at the other end, and having Taranto and Hopper in the middle with Nank has really meant that they've been able to have some games where they are competitive. And this was one of those. I mean, Gold Coast probably kicked themselves out of it in the end, but they took intercept mark after intercept mark. Vloston was like a wall back there. He just took everything. So it was good to see. There's some really good young kids. If you're a Richmond fan, you would be ecstatic with what they're doing.
Yeah, that's it. And look, everyone thought they weren't going to win a game this year and the like. They're not a terrible team. Like, don't get me wrong, they're not good. But when they're all fully healthy and all fully back and not in court or whatever, it's a decent football side, and there is a foundation there that is building. Yeah,
and I think the thing that you can see is they're trying to play a really attacking style where they slingshot, and Lawler and these guys and Campbell and these small forwards that can zip around, and it's actually quite an entertaining way to go about it. I mean, their test will come when some of these older guys like Nank and that give it away, and then the kids still will only be 21. Like what happens then? But that's for them to work through over the next couple of years, I suppose.
Yeah.
What about Gold Coast though? I don't think there's too much on the Richmond side we need to worry about SuperCoach wise, is there?
Yeah, no, there's not much.
Gold Coast, except for your man Matt Rowell.
Oh, what a man!
Jeez, it was. I mean, our man Brody, who loves the Suns, he would have been pulling his hair out.
Yeah, that's it. He was fuming. I already know he was. It wasn't pretty. I'll be honest. It wasn't good. And really, besides Rowell 130, John Noble 116, he was all right. Jared Witts, he's done okay, but Nank's been pretty. He's allowed some high scores this year. Ben Long is somehow keeping up his top 10 champion data stuff up. I don't get it. He's so good.
He was really good. I
don't get how he's. I've never seen Ben Long as a good player, and he's really opened my eyes the past couple of weeks. I'll tell you that much.
Agree.
Yeah, Took Miller 109. Like a lot of Gold Coast players got 100 in this one, and just feel like they scraped their way there. Noah Anderson a 105. You'd probably just take it and move on with these guys. We'll probably get down to some of the worst ones, including Bailey Humphrey for most who jumped on him. They'd be pretty bad about it. It's not good.
And we'll put our hand up here at Insight. We obviously give out our opinions on cash cows, and like we did this week where we're saying we think Flynn's a good option because he's 270. 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, whatever it was, we sat here and we had Marich and we had Humphrey, and we said to the community, we think both will be okay. I mean, in our defense, we did have I think all of us had Marich ahead of Humphrey, but we said both can work. And so if you have got Humphrey, it hasn't worked, jump ship now.
It's time to go.
Not an option. He had the fixture, we thought, to make some bulk cash, and he just didn't do it. So you say, all right, it burnt a trade. So be it. The bright side of that equation might be you might be able to put him in a suite of trade outs to get up to maybe a Dacos or something this week. So that might be the only silver lining, but he's been a bad pick.
Yeah, that's it. And it's sort of we could probably chuck him and the next bloke who is quickly dropping in cash, Sam Flanders, into the same boat, where we thought these guys, after that Melbourne game where they both played pretty good and had decent CBAs when Took went forward, and we thought, this is probably the start of their rise in CBAs and their scoring potential. And they've just dropped all the way back. Humphrey only had 13% CBAs and Flinders only had 9 this week. It's really just both the roles have just been completely shot for both of them, and I'm not looking at either. Even if Flinders gets down to 400k, I don't know if you can possibly go there with the current role.
Nah. Well, I think that's the key point is until you see something, one of two things happen with Flanders. He's either goes back to the halfback Seagull role, which I can't see happening because Noble and Rioli are there, or you see CBAs swap with Tuke Miller, and Tuke Miller's the third banana in there at the moment at 78%. Unless you see that change, there's an injury to one of the main three, because they are simply playing 3 midfielders. They're not putting any of the others through. And so I don't care what price Flanders gets, unless he's getting CBAs or he goes back, I'm not touching him.
Yeah, that's it. Not much else to touch on Gold Coast wise. We'll quickly jump back to Richmond and just have a quick chat about Luke Traynor. We touched on it before. There's not much we can really do about it now. We found out pretty early on that he was going to be the sub just because they want to manage him throughout the season, and just completely fucked his cash gen, to be honest.
It has, and we've all got him right, so hopefully we were able to wriggle our way around and not take his 2. Some people were stuck with that 2, which thank goodness for the flex if you're in that boat. What's his cash gen doing? I think it's just going to be it's going to be a month of pain with him if you do want to hold. And what I mean by a month of pain, it's going to take a month to get back to what it should have taken to get to next week. I think he was going to be a really good cash cow that was going to make quick cash, and next week he would have been at that culling stage. It's now going to take 4 weeks to get there because he's got the 74 break even now. He's going to have to roll the 2 out of his cycle. It will come back and he will start generating cash again, so you can hold. But I think it just depends on what rookies you've got, which ones you need to cash out of. For me, I think he's probably going to go this week rather than wait a month, because now that Pryor's reset his cash and those guys, I don't want to cull them. So probably he will go for me, but you can hold him if you really want to.
Yeah, that's it. And another good argument to hold him. Not I'm in the same boat. I'm probably going to have to get rid of him, unfortunately, this week. But there is a good argument to keep him. He's probably not going to be the sub for we wouldn't think for at least a while after this. Yep. And he comes into Melbourne. We know they give up points to backman. He goes Hawthorn, which they're not terrible for backman. Then West Coast and North, and they're just terrible all over the park for Supercoach wise.
If he goes 60 and 60 over the next 2 games, he resets his break even back to 25, and he's shown that he can go 80s. So I think he can make some more cash. I'm not telling anyone they have to jump off. I just understand why some people will, because they need to get his money and turn it into a Carroll this week, maybe, to be able to facilitate other moves. But yeah, it depends how patient you want to be. If you want to extract more money, you can hold him.
Yeah, there is definitely merit to holding him, and he's probably one of the safer defensive fields over the next coming weeks. So there is merit for it for both sides as we move on to Port Adelaide versus Sydney. And this was just the Zach Butters game. To be honest, there's not much else. Sydney kicked back late with one Essendon legend, Aaron Francis, kicking 3.
Where did that come from?
Yeah, that was interesting. Sydney side of things.
Yeah, go on.
I
was just saying, weird game of footy, wasn't it? It was like Port looked to be in control for most of the game, and then Sydney made that sub, and Francis looked like the reincarnate of John Coleman or something for 10 minutes, and then couldn't quite get over the line, and probably didn't deserve to, probably, if we're honest. But yeah, some Supercoach relevance here. Yeah,
that's it. Brody Grundy, 139, very good game from him against Jordan Sweet, who's been very restrictive to start this year, and probably the guy that saved us in this game next, Matt Roberts. We were in a bit of strife this game if it wasn't for him. So him pulling out a 119 was very solid. And it's just a credit to people who held. And if you jumped off, there was merit in it last week, but he was always going to perform like this eventually.
Yeah. I think with all of these mid-price stepping stones, I don't want to be a hypocrite. I think if you jumped off, as long as you jumped off to a keeper, I understand it.
Yep.
I held, but only because I didn't think it was necessarily a downside of holding. So I just said, well, I'll hold him. I got a bit lucky. Got 119 after 278s or 79 or whatever it was.
Yep.
A lot of luck does play its part in this. But if you went, like a Roberts to a Dacos,
yep.
like, yes, you
You've
missed the
won.
119, but you've got Dacos for the year. That's what his job was. I think the beauty is out of that, I don't think there's a loser out of the traders or the holders as long as you went to a keeper and you didn't go down thinking, all right, I can restructure and play 3 rookies. If you did that, that's going to bite you. But if you went up to somebody, even if you went to a Sinclair and it didn't look good this week because he got a shit score, don't worry, he's going to come good and that's still going to be all right.
Yeah, that's it. As we sort of skip through, Isaac Heaney in 98 probably got saved by his 2 goals, to be fair. He was decent, but
okay. Yeah,
he started out real good, and then just that second quarter, he just fell off a cliff, to be fair. I didn't really see much of him. Riley Bice, I thought he was fine. I didn't if he's pulling out 80s as a guy who we purchased at bottom dollar, who cares?
Yeah, I thought it was probably his least impactful game, but still got an 80. So you're happy with that for sure.
Yeah, that's it. And I know I saw people that were upset about it, and I was thinking, you bought this guy at 113K. Who cares?
Exactly.
You never expected that 4 weeks ago.
We get a bit carried away with our rookies. Like you do have to temper your expectation. Even the mature age ones like Riley Bice, they're still 2 games into an AFL career. Like, yes, they've got 100 and something, but they're not going to stay at that level. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, that's it. Chad Warner, 71. He's probably, if we're ranking Martin Petrarca and him for the new forward DPPs, he's got to be on the bottom at the minute. And yeah, I'm not interested at the way he's looking. I need some more big oomph scores. He's not really providing at all.
I'll tell you what was the worst thing about Chad Warner this week was he had the role and he just played shit.
Yeah.
So he had 70% CBAs this week. So that was something I was looking for. Like, if you get a forward status and then you go into the middle, you think, oh, this is gold. But he still played like shit. So it's one to just keep an eye on. Does the CBAs hold? I am nowhere near buying him, but if he got 70% every week and the scoring came, you might think about it later on. The trouble with Warner, I think, over his career, he's proven to be very inconsistent. He may well get some 140s and 150s where he bursts out a stoppage, kicks a few goals and all that kind of stuff, but he can equally get your 70s like this. So it's just a bit of a roller coaster.
Yeah, that's it. People that bought in Caden Cleary this week would be pretty sad about a 30. I'm not thrilled about it, but it's the risk you take when picking not only just rookies but small forward rookies at that. Yes, we thought he was a bit different, just the way that some of the sorry, I forgot the word. The stats were looking in his favor, but you sort of just you got to deal with these.
Yeah, I think he was okay. Like, I didn't think he played that bad. There are a couple of little circumstances in the game where he took a mark and they gave a free against someone else in the pack and stuff like that might have meant he got to his 50. I didn't love his game, but he's a rookie, and you just the trouble that we all face here is if you've got Cleary and you've got a Clay Hall and you're maybe still holding a Lucas Camporeale and you've got a Bo Allen, it's starting to mount up, and that's the problem. Like, does Cleary hold his role in the team, or does he start getting sub and then out in a few weeks? That's the question. But he made us some money. He's there for now. We just have to cross that bridge when we get to it.
Yeah. Moving over to Port Adelaide, Zach Butters. He's
star.
Yeah, he's a star of the sport, and it's pretty comfortable to say he's at minimum top 3 midfielder and probably a top 3 player in the game. So
absolute star. Yeah. I mean, everyone would love watching him play. Like the way he goes about it, he loves the contest. He's brilliant.
Yeah, he was everywhere in this game. It wasn't even the touches that got majority of points. I reckon he probably got 100 points just from 1%ers, just the way he was flying around the place. Yeah. Kane Farrell put up a phenomenal game from him, 118. Now we'll have to give a few of these guys some shout outs. We've got Grant here saying Power Pepper Power and Brody saying SPP my king. he was decent again.
If you had said to me, Deadly, at round 1 that my worst trade out of the year was going to be Peppa Pig, and my trade outs, ladies and gentlemen, have included Horn Francis for a 150 followed by a 117, and then Rosie for a 134 followed by a 102, and he was still the worst trade of the year. He's made $200,000, and I traded him out after he's 13, and he's still going. I could never have seen this. This is just one that too good for me. I'll put my hand up and say I'm not worthy. That's the way it goes.
That's it. I mean, look, the bold Jesus says he resurrected. That's just all we can say. He's bloody good. Connor Rosie off halfback. He's just a great football player. It's just as simple as that. And he shook that Jordan tag with ease, to be fair to him. And maybe if he gets a DPP, we're probably looking to bring him back in. But right now, you probably just can't go there with him as a mid only, right?
No, I think the thing with Rosie for me, and keep in mind I did trade him out, so there's less likelihood of me bringing him back straight away, right? Because I traded him out. But just looking at the prices and where he's going to get to, he's going to hover somewhere between 500 and 520 over the next month. If he doesn't go stupid, if he gets those hundreds, I will be looking for, if this roll holds at round 12, when we get DPPs, he's on the buy, he would be a really nice round 13 trade in if he's 520k defender. But other than that, I'm not going there.
Yeah, 100%. And next bloke on the list, we got Pickles, Jason and Francis. So it's shit for people that traded out. But I'll be honest, I've held him the past 3 weeks, and I'm just waiting for him to have a shit score so I can get rid of him anyway. So don't feel too bad about it.
He's a hard watch, isn't he?
He picks and chooses points in a game where he decides he actually wants to play football. He just decides, this stoppage, let's just run through it. Let's barge over 3 people, get the ball, get a clean kick away, and get myself 15 SuperCoach points. And then the next stoppage, he just stands there. And I don't know what the go is with him. He was good again. Didn't have a handball until about 10 minutes left in the game. So that was pretty impressive to see, to be fair, from an inside mid. Do you bring him back if you dropped him? So you've still got him. That, like, if you're me, like, I'm not talking about now because I'm not bringing him back before his buy. But let's say round 13. Let's say he's doing exactly what he's done the last couple of weeks. Forget the big 130. Like, that's an outlier. Like, just the 100 or the 95, whatever. Is he going to be that top 60 you have to bring in round 13 to finish your forward line, or not? It's hard to say because, anywhere from a 90 to 100, which is probably what you expect Horn Francis to be on a standard day, nothing too crazy, is what track's doing normally. And we're not really pressed to get track in, and track's 100k cheaper. So
that's true.
It's that sort of stuff you lean on there. And it's, look, we'll just have to wait and see, I guess, with Horn Francis. I mean, shit, if he doesn't have another bad score, I'll hold him, and I guess I'll have to grow to like him more.
Yeah. That's fickle.
Not much else going on for Port. Christian Moraes, if you still held him like me and Hurls, we're probably getting rid of him this week, aren't we? So
yeah, he only went down $1,000. But the problem with Moraes is he was 30 at quarter time and he ended at 30, or he was 28 and he ended on 30, or something like that.
I tweeted this out the other day. He was 26 at quarter time, 30 at half time, and finished on 30. So so he's another rookie that's just on the ground doing nothing. And so how many of them can you carry? I think there's a problem in our teams if we've got too many of that type of rookie. So he hasn't made enough for me to want to get rid of him, but I think I have to. Yeah, I think he probably leans. He suckered me in after watching him dismantle Essendon. Now we've only got 2 games left here.
2 to go.
Western Bulldogs versus St Kilda. This got ugly real quick. But
it did.
Yeah, I think Jesus did resurrect because the Bont is back.
The Bont was back. It was bloody good to see, wasn't it? It was one of those games that it was the highs and lows of footy. Like, watching Bont back was pure. It was bloody brilliant.
Yeah.
And then watching Sam Darcy go down was sad. Just sad is the only word I could put behind
No,
that.
yeah, that's it.
And the news today was that it's not an ACL and that he might be back in 3 or 4 months. Let's not worry whether he does get back this year or whether it's at least he can come back for preseason. That's a good thing. It's not the dreaded ACL. But it's sad for footy because he was someone we all wanted to watch.
He was putting bums on seats for Doggies fans. He was one of the guys that was really impressing to start this year, and it's just sad to see. Look, at least if he's not back end of this year, at least he gets a full preseason and can just go rip and tear again next year.
Yeah,
but
agreed.
Yeah,
going to be great to watch for a decade.
Oh, that's it, at least. So yeah, the Bont, he's back. We can't go there yet, can we? There's just no possible way, surely.
Look, we've been talking about this a lot in the chat groups, and I keep saying to people, the traditional way of playing SuperCoach is no, you can't go there. Like your Butters and your Bont Dacos is about the maximum 605. Anything above that, and you're breaking the bank to bring someone in, and yes, it will hurt you in the long run. Now, the exception to the rule for me is if you're way down in the rankings and you want to shake it up a bit because you're just going, I'm having a crappy year and I need something different, and I love watching Bont or I love watching Butters, and I hate watching someone else that you've got who's frustrating you, then do it. It's a game, right? Like this is what I find quite interesting. Like traditionalists, the way to play SuperCoach is rookies off the field, hunt value, all of that. 100% agree, and that's what I'll be doing. But if you're 50,000th, you're not going to get up the ranks by doing what everyone else is doing. So maybe this is the play.
Yeah, that's it. Matt Kennedy, he's been a phenomenal pickup for the Dogs themselves. He's probably not a SuperCoach option. I know a couple of people started with him, and they'll be happy with what he's done to start.
As a forward starting option, I think he would have been good. The fridge. He's just conned everyone, hasn't he?
I'll tell you what, he was bloody phenomenal, and
he's a good player.
This is sort of what we expected from the fridge after those first couple of games. Is just a couple of games like this, and then the role got changed, and all this went out the window. And he was good, but you know what? You just if you had him and you traded him out, you just laugh and say, cool.
Yeah, you do.
Congrats.
You do. I mean, maybe does the Bont coming back help him and Sanders be what we thought they might be?
Yes,
maybe
I think it does. I think it
maybe
does.
Those two,
especially in this game, it looked like it. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe now with Bont back and Libba still in there, it really does help your Riley Sanders and your fridge to get the best out of themselves. But unfortunately, in SuperCoach, if you bought them in earlier and you dumped them, you're probably not going back now. So
no, that's it. Just so many touches for the Dogs in this game. Ed Richards had plenty of it. He was good again. Bailey Williams, I made a joke in the WhatsApp chat saying that he was basically Gary Ablett Jr.'s reincarnation. He was phenomenal for a good chunk of that game. Riley Sanders played his best game in a Dogs uniform, and I think Bevo will be happy with that. He was really good. Yep. Libba, now I've got to bring this one up from Grant. Liberatore would have won the stall gift on his chase down on Brad Hill. That was good to watch.
He would have beat Gout today if he had been running against him.
Who would have known that Tom Liberatore still had that in the tank? That was glorious.
I'll tell you the best part about it, and a few commentators have already said it. Like the time of the game and the situation, you could have forgiven him to go, you know what, just put a bit of a fake chase in and pretend, but he just said, stuff it. I'm putting my soul into it, and he got in. That was good.
Did you see he's run up to the bench about 3 minutes later? He's sitting there hobbling. He was done. Yeah. He used all the energy for that one. Lockie Bramble, Johannesson, they were both good, both 93s, and Bailey Dale too. I feel like Bailey Dale was a bit unlucky with this. He took a whole bunch of kickouts, but 32 for only a 93 score. Owners wouldn't have been happy. He started out real bad, had 26 or something at halftime.
I think that was his problem. Like I had my only live real league game, because I had really weird league games this week. They were either I was getting smashed and no chance, or I was winning by heaps and home. This was the only live one where I was 20 points clear, and my opponent had Bailey Dale and I had Davo. And so I ended up getting the chocolates by 10 points. But I think the problem was Dale started so crap, like you said, because he was only 26 and he got all his touches when the game was already done, they sort of didn't count for as much. So he's still got a reasonable 93. But if he did damage in the first half, he probably would have been on 93 at halftime and ended on 120. But it just was the other way around.
Yeah, that's it. Aaron Norton was good up forward after Darcy went down, especially. Tim English, he did fine. That's not much else you can say. Yep. He was good. All the dogs did good. They won. They won by us. It was a slashing. Davidson, I thought played really well. He definitely had a couple goals for himself that he could have done, but passed them off. Gave a few off. And
if I was his coach and I was yelling at the TV for him to get the ball for both Draftstars, and I needed him to get the ball for Draftstars plus my league game. He was in space so many times, but he refuses to just take that extra 15 meters to the left. He wants to stand there. And so if he got on his bike just a little bit more, he would get so much more uncontested footy, and they would be able to use him. But where you got someone like a Bailey Dale, who's just like manic, like a seagull on a chip, he's a bit more passive. He needs to just get a bit more of that in his game, but he's a good player.
Oh yeah, 100%. And he's restarted his cash gen after this week. So for those that held, well done. He's going to make us a bit more coin, and I know we both held, and we're both happy owners. Yeah, he's a pretty safe build.
Yeah, I'll be holding him again. I think even though he's at the 305,000 or something mark, I think we'll get another 50,000 out of him. So I'll be holding him for a little while.
He's doing very well, and not much else going on. Besides the Sam Darcy thing, which is unfortunate. And if you got him, you just have to sell him now, which sucks. But moving on to St Kilda, Callum Wilkie, he's been so good this year. And just even for his career, he's probably been a bit underrated. He's just been so good for St Kilda this whole time that he's been there.
Yeah, he has these games, doesn't he? 12 marks. He's just solid. He probably does the job. Yeah. Does his job, but he's probably not the traditional stopper, but he gets enough of the footy. Yeah, he's not the problem at St Kilda, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's it. Jack McRae got a 103. He was fine. We love Jack McRae. He's comfortably forward line. We don't have to worry about him. Nasai Wangan Miller, he did fine again. If you got him, he's fine to hold for a while.
Are you worried about his role, Deadly?
Yes, I am slightly worried about the comments that Ross said during the week about how he wants to integrate Nas into the midfield more, and he sees Nas as a mid in his future, and it does worry me a bit because SuperCoach wise, especially this year, it's been mainly the halfbacks that have dominated the start this year, and Nas has been one of them. And we see it with Sinclair as well for St Kilda. Every time he goes to the midfield, he doesn't put up the best of scores, but at halfback he's phenomenal, and it's just that's sort of where it lies. Is I've seen it happen with Sinclair. And I don't really want it to happen to Nas, especially if I own him. I
think if I was a Saints fan, I would love that talk because I think around the ball he's more dangerous. Yeah. But if I'm a SuperCoach player, I hate it because I want him being a seagull in the back flank, getting these easy kicks. It still worked okay this week, but if he's in the middle, there's more chance of him getting tagged. I think just a watch. If you've got him, you're going to hold him. But if you're going to buy, I would just temper that and wait and see a little bit, I reckon.
100%. Yeah, his CBAs are increasing week by week. He had only 6% last week into 28 in this game, and who knows what it will be next week and going forward. Jack Sinclair, mate, only a 69. I mean, are you a non-owner? I believe you are.
I'm a non-owner, which is exactly what we wanted to see.
This is the game us non-owners wanted to see. It sucks for owners. You got him at a pretty high price. But if you got him before that Richmond game, you won't care. But if you bought him after that Richmond game and he was the 600k plus guy that you brought in, and now he's dropped all the way back down, he's probably going to be about 540 or so k in about 3 weeks' time. Yep. It's not ideal for you, but at least you've got him now. And this is the game of SuperCoach, right? This is why the traditional way of playing SuperCoach is to not buy your $640,000 blokes and wait, because it takes one game like this
for the rest of the community to get $100,000 discount. And that's what we'll do with Sinclair. Like in 4 weeks, he'll be 540,000 and every man and his dog will jump on. And that's how the game works. If you've got him, write it out. That's life. You don't worry about price on your keepers because you're keeping them anyway. But if you're a non-owner like the two of us, you're just now waiting for the right week to pounce. And it's probably, I mean, it's dangerous to pull these scenarios out because they never go the way you think they will.
Never.
But Roberts to Sinclair is probably the move, and it's probably going to cost you $70,000, right?
Yeah, that's it. And this is what we want. Just guys like that to have one down game, and then we could pick them up at the cheapest price possible for the year and just ride them out. Rowan Marshall, another pretty poor game, mate, and it's just. Geez, I don't even know. I haven't looked at him this week. I might just quickly have a dive into him. But
he's going to be so cheap.
He's dropping coin quick. He's 460K with a 155 break even, and comes up against Oscar McInerney this week, who has been by far and away the most restrictive ruck all year. So he could be low 400s going into the 300s come next week.
I think the only thing I'd say about Marshall is he just looks like he's playing hampered. He doesn't look like he's running freely again. And why would you not give Boyd a game to give him a bit of a chop out, and let him play 50% ruck time for a couple of weeks or something? I don't know. I'm no coach, but that's probably what I'd be doing if I was a Saints coach. I think he needs a bit of help.
Yeah, I thought it was going to happen because Boyd only played the half in the VFL and got pulled out. I thought he was going to come in pretty late and be the chop and change with Marshall, but it didn't happen. Jack Steele, 45, yuck. Not many people would own him. It's just because of the few weeks he's had out, but I don't know. Maybe one we'll look at in a few weeks, but probably not at this stage. And then moving on to today's game, it's good. It was pretty good to have footy on a Monday, wasn't it?
It was a real it's called a long weekend, so this shouldn't be is a captain obvious, but geez, it was a long weekend. Like when you got Thursday night footy through to Monday, it was.
It was, yeah. You're not wrong.
It was one of those games today, and I watched the start of 360 and a bit of on the couch before we jumped on, and they were carrying on about how great a game. I thought it was a really poor game. I thought the skills were terrible, but it was close and it was hard. So I think that made up for it. Like the fact that it was a live game and it was anyone's game with 5 minutes to go. But I think Sam Mitchell even said it in his sort of commentary. They'll be kicking themselves for some of those skill errors. They gave so many goals up that they shouldn't have in the first half in particular. Just defensive 50 turnovers killed them. But anyway, that's for them to worry about.
Yeah. Geelong side of things, not really much went on SuperCoach wise. There's not really relevant players.
Now, some really good players had crap scores. Like I was thinking halfway through the third, you're thinking, Bailey Smith's going to get a ton and Max Holmes going to get a ton. And then you look up at the end and they've got an 80 and an 80, both of them. Yeah. They become attainable for blokes who don't have these guys. I rate Max Holmes and he just didn't get the score. I thought his game was good though.
Yeah, Max Holmes played real well in my eyes, and geez, I think he was unlucky with an 80, to be fair. I think it was just sort of the disposal efficiency. It didn't go his way today. Bailey Smith as well. He was on 75 at three-quarter time, finished on 80. That could have been a lot more. It's just a few things like that for this Geelong side. And there was a lot of points on offer. There wasn't many high scores at all going into the last quarter, and there was a lot of points on offer. For those guys, I think everyone has Bailey Smith now. You're still holding. Max Holmes, probably he's one that we can look to target in a couple of weeks if you don't have, and if you own him, you're holding. It's the same sort of thing. Tom Stewart is probably the most interesting one. So
what is he? 400 and
he scored a 64. I believe he lands around he's in the 440s. Yeah, he's 441K with a 79 break even.
Oh, but he's yuck. He really is.
He hasn't been good. And I think you put it the best way in the WhatsApp chat just before. Do you see him do you see him or Roberts as the better option, or do you see him as the same? And if so, if you've still got Roberts, why make the trade for Stewart?
Yeah, I agree.
Roberts is fine.
I think that look, the slight argument for a Tom Stewart is it gets a rookie off the field. But given our defensive rookies have been okay, I think I'd rather Roberts, Bice, and looping Zach Reed or Pryor personally, and bring in and just wait for the Sinclair and Max Holmes.
Yeah, that's it. And if you get Stewart in this week, there's no way you can get a Dacos as well or a Flynn as well. So it hampers that, and there's just no point for it.
Look, we could be wrong. He might get hundreds every week for the rest of the year, and at 400 and whatever thousand he is now, it could be a great pick. But I don't think he's turning it around like that. I don't think Geelong are using him like they used to anymore.
No,
and that's probably half of the problem.
Yeah, it was the same sort of thing that happened last year. He was just got completely shipped out the roll, dropped all the way from 600 plus K down to 460, which is just about what he's at now. So yeah, he did climb it back a bit last year, but look, not enough to trade him in this week in my eyes. And
I don't think so.
Yeah. Connor O'Sullivan, I'm an owner. Not this week. He's gone. He's
probably out.
He's done his job. He's up to 300K. That's good enough for me. He's fine to go.
He made his money. So Never didn't make his money, but he's probably a trade out too, because I think he's now struggling. So they're the rookies that you're probably jumping off if you own them.
Yeah, 100%. And then on the Hawthorn side of things, Carl Amon had a fantastic, especially last quarter, 152. John Newcomb, your boy from a few weeks ago, another good game from him.
I wish I could bring him in, but I don't know how I could structure it. I called it 2 weeks ago when I bought Merritt. I was tossing up between Merritt and Newcomb, and at the moment it's probably neck and neck in points output. I think they're probably pretty similar over the last 2 weeks. But the thing I loved about Newcomb was he doesn't play Sydney or GWS for the rest of the year, so he's got no Bedford or Jordan tags. So he does have some taggers, but they're the taggers on the edges. They're not the main ones. So I think if you're thinking about a pod, Newcomb is someone I would tell you go for it.
Yeah, 100%. James Warple was great. Lloyd Meek, this is the start of his real good run, and popped off with the 113. He was really good. Maybe Ochol was good. Besides that, James Sicily, 74, not good from him. It's just the chopping and changing between defence and forward that's just absolutely killing him.
He actually was terrible in the first half. Like his ball use was atrocious, and then he kicked the goal or whatever and sort of saved his score to a 74. But I thought he was very poor in the back line. And look, maybe we haven't factored in. Like it sounds great on paper, bringing in Barras and Battle, but they haven't played any games together, this back six now. So maybe they brought Scrimshaw back in today, and then there was Sicily. Like it just doesn't look like their ball movement is what it was, and maybe that's a factor.
Yeah, that's it. Dylan Moore, for people that were thinking about looking at him, popped out of 36. What was his CBAs like? I think it was only 15% down from 51 last week. Yeah, yuck. We'll wait. If it really comes down to it and Dylan Moore's cheap as cheap, then we can probably go there as a maybe an F7 cover. But right now it's looking bleak for him.
It is. I know my better half has him started the year with him and his rage traded him out already. So I think that probably gives you an indication of where he's going.
Yeah, that's it. And that's all the games, ladies and gentlemen. So what we'll quickly do, we've been going for an hour 38. We've got a couple of questions here. We'll need to answer a few of those questions, and then we'll go from there and see how long this takes. Hopefully not too long. I'm sure you'll.
Who would have thought we'd be able to talk for a couple of hours about SuperCoach, mate? It was unlikely.
Do this every day. So we'll jump into some comments, and the first one, I don't even know why I started this. I'm actually struggling to now. Why did I put that screen up? How do I delete the app? Yeah, it was a pretty weird week this week, wasn't it? All in all, mate, I think us and almost everyone in our community went par.
Yeah, I think here's what I will say, Ian. If you had a shit week, and plenty of people did, do some different stuff. Like there's some really different players you could chase this year that you wouldn't normally chase. If you're miles behind, go bring in a Bont and a Butters and enjoy watching them play or something while no one's got them, or do something completely crazy that you wouldn't normally do. Like, I think there's always some learning you can take. I'm starting to sound like Brad Scott here. We're learning and stuff after the game, but there's always some things you can tinker with to learn for next year. I think that if that's where your season is at, and I don't know where you're ranked, Ian, whether that's tongue in cheek or not, but if you're going really shit, try some different things.
Yeah, that's it. Got a little double date happening here. I wish. Into my text back. Did I ever get my pen license? I actually don't think I did. From memory, I don't think I got my pen license. I'm pretty sure I didn't. Actually, no, I did. They gave it to me out of pity. I don't think I would have got it, but they gave it to me out of pity. So, thank you, teacher. You got a few nice ones for you here. Those new mics sound crispy.
I have got a new mic. I hope it's working. It's good.
No Macca's Wi-Fi tonight.
No, but I have got a little error message saying Microsoft Edge will restart in 38 minutes. Thankfully, we'll be done by then, so that's okay.
Very good. Well, Matt, you made it an hour 40 with going well.
Yeah.
All right. Can we move early on a decent rookie like Levi or Bice to get Dacos, if no other alternative?
Ooh,
that's a good question.
Look, if you're getting Dacos from those blokes, then I'm going to say it's fine. I think tinker with your different trade options, muck around with it a bit. I don't hate it. Any rookie to a keeper is a good trade.
Yeah.
I mean, see what you think Levi's projection looks like over the next 3 or 4. How much cash are you leaving on the table? And what's the rest of your cash gen look like? If the rest of your cash gen is healthy and you can afford to go from a Levi to a Nick, then I'm not going to say no. But just it depends on your cash gen position and what that overall looks like.
Yeah, that's it. I'm there with you. Flynn to flex would be the move, I'd say. Yeah, I think we're in the same boat.
Yeah, I wouldn't go unless you've got a Rowan Marshall or something in R2. I wouldn't be going him at R2, and I wouldn't go him at R3 because you're spending money up from Boyd. So that seems counterintuitive to me to do that. I think the play is rookie off the field, like I don't know, whoever your 200, say Trainer as an example, 265,000, and you're taking a straight swap to Flynn, and you're making the money off Flynn instead of Trainer over the next month, but he's sitting in flex.
Yeah, and this one adds on to Flynn as well. Bring him in if it means having to bench him. If you have to bench him, I think I still would.
I don't know. It depends. I don't know what your team looks like to be in that position. Because I would imagine most people have got either an Archer Reed or a Boyd at R3, which are just sitting there. Yeah. And I wouldn't recommend trading them to get Flynn, if that's what your question is, because you're having to put 100,000 onto someone just to do it. I don't, and you're going to sit your 90 points on the bench every week. So I'd rather him in flex personally, but I don't know what your exact setup looks like to comment exactly with all the info.
Well, you just sort of answered another question there. I have Archer Reed as my R2. Should I trade him for Flynn?
Oh, yeah. If you've got him R2, for sure. That's okay. Because Archer Reed's only getting you 50 points. So you're upgrading your points and you're going to get cash gen.
Archer Reed's probably only got one more week in him left anyway. So it's fine to go a week early.
That's fine,
Started Flynn at R3, hoping to hold him to his bye to cover TDK. Hopefully Essendon pick a ruck in the mid-season. I believe we're linked to that Coburg ruck. So potentially we've got 3 picks in the mid-season so far. So I wouldn't mind if we picked him.
I think we'll definitely pick a ruck. The Coburg one was someone we were linked to. I can't remember his name. Is it
Cooper Cogue or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. So him or I don't know who else is available, but I think they'll probably. I mean, they'll play Goldie for the next month, and I hope he gets through a month on his pension card and see what happens.
I'll tell you what, Vigo Vicentini looked real good in the VFL as the ruck, and Guerin looked fine backing him up. But maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Who are we trading Flynn out for? I mean, we've just got a couple dead rookies. Me personally, it's so due to my looping scenario from last week, moving Patton from forward into defense to get Pryor. I've got Jordan Clark in my flex, so I'll just swap him and Connor O'Sullivan and just do that straight swap for me.
Yeah, mine will be Trainer out, Flynn in, and Moraes out, Carroll in, with a few little DPP things. And I did notice today, which maybe I've been asleep at the wheel, but even after you put Flynn in flex, I could trade out someone and it still opened up on another line because I could click the button 3 times and Stone just moved. So
Yeah.
I think that's
yeah. That's a new feature they added that you can
new feature this year
do
that
the moves even with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good feature.
Yeah.
Missing the horse, but these two guys are killing it as a 2-man. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
we
Brody.
try our best.
The horse will be back, I promise.
Yeah. Matty Granger, I'm the best, boys. I'm 66. Now, I did fact check this. He is 66 at the minute. He is awesome. Matty Granger, to be fair, is a very what's the word? Not a prominent SuperCoach player, but he knows his stuff for all.
So
all
tell us if you're still there, Matty. Tell us in chat, what are you doing with Flynn? People are asking us, like, are you bringing him in this week? That's what I mean. Let's get some. Yeah, let's get the 66th ranking bloke to tell us what you're doing with Matty Flynn.
Yeah. All right. Anderson Zark has gone 136, 109, 102, 113, 105, but has had left a lot of points left on the table with poor disposal efficiency this year. And I think you're right with that,
That's
Jonas.
True.
He's kicking it under 70% or something this year. And there's definitely points there to be.
But I think if that's the floor though, it's not that bad. Like, it's probably a big game coming, right?
Yeah, that's it. It probably is. What was the verdict on Gather Round, Hurls?
Massive thumbs up. Like, if you've never done Gather Round, do it for once 1 year. Like, I think they do a great job of the whole vibe of the city. Like, they've got Rundle Mall has all these footy activations. I've done it 1 year, just me and Danny went, and it was great. This year we did it with the 3 kids. It was still great, but it was a lot harder with 3 kids, mainly because the younger 2 aren't as into footy as the other 3 of us. So I probably won't go again next year now because it's expensive. The accommodation and the flights and that are jacked up to the hilt, but it is worth doing if you've never done it before, for sure.
Yep, that's it. Thinking Bale and TDK to Flynn and Butters. I probably wouldn't do that personally.
This is one of those ones. If you're 50,000th, okay, I can understand it. If you're still in the mix and you're trying to get into upgrade season like the bulk of people, then what you have to realize with that kind of trade is you're not gaining a rookie off the field at a premium where others are, and so it might hurt in the long run. But if you're 50,000th and you want to experiment and do some different funky stuff, then that's the kind of trade that might work.
Yeah. Carroll for Carlton's looked good. Yeah, he's probably the one the real cheap one that we got to get this week, just no matter what, just because there's no one else really. And he has looked pretty good. I mean,
I think that's it.
I did say this last night in the WhatsApp chat. You can't go into Carroll expecting him to hold his spot because I am slightly worried because Lockie Cowan is due back in 2 weeks. And I still think they prefer Cowan to Carroll. So go into this Carroll trade expecting him to maybe only play the 2 weeks and don't be upset. You know, if he plays more, happy days, but I'm slightly worried about it, but I probably will still bring him in.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I'm not expecting Carroll to be a big scorer or to last for very long, but let's just hope Vossi keeps him in for a month.
Yeah. Brody, I'm sure you can. You have access to the WhatsApp yourself, but Hurls is doing something special with Full and Primos in the
I will be writing. Yeah, buy hold sell is. I mean, I've written the draft. I've just got to update it with the new break evens and the new prices after I get on that tomorrow. So either tomorrow afternoon or on Wednesday that will come out for patrons, and there'll be a list of the probably. Keep an eye out for about 4 defenders, 5 mids, 3 rucks, and about 5 forwards that I think are going to be people will want to target over the next 5-6 weeks.
Get in the Patreon to get all that juicy info as well. Scorched Earth, lost all the spots I gained last week, literally swings and roundabouts. That's just how the game is, and that's just the game.
Exactly.
Supercoach, you'll probably make them all back next week. It's just how it goes.
Yeah.
Is it okay to trade SSP? I'm assuming that's SPP. To
Peppa
bring in
Pig, yeah.
Dacos. It means I have to hold Trainer Moraes. Thanks. It's the same sort of thing where it's a rookie to a primo is good, but there's surely you can try and find another way. I don't know. Having to hold Trainer and Moraes.
I think this is a hard one because I don't rate Peppa Pig. My brain can't compute that he's made 200,000 and he's scoring hundreds. So when I see the name up there, I just go, yeah, get rid of him. That's an easy trade. But if you look at take the name away and you just look at what he's producing and his cash that he's still got to make, then again, it's that mathematical equation. Going now is okay, but are you leaving 50 or 60K on the table? And then what does that do to your cash gen in 4 or 5 weeks' time? So you just got to weigh that up. I'm not going to say no because Dacos is someone you probably want, but just you got to weigh it up.
Yeah, that's it. I feel sick. I just looked at Sam Power Pepper's Supercoach page. Champion data having projected at 105 for this week. I'm like,
oh, wow.
Right. Levi Ashcroft to Flynn for cash gen. It's the same sort of thing as we answered before. If you have to, I probably would. If there's
I don't love it because Flynn's only 260. So I think you can. Personally, I would go early on a Zach Reed, a Luke Trainer, or one of those, or even a Moraes, and just put 70K on it before I went Levi Ashcroft. But if it's your only way, it's your only way.
It's that sort of. I mean, I'd assume he's getting in a Dacos as well,
maybe.
Which means like if it's just for Flynn, there's going to be plenty of other guys that you'll be easily able to jump off. This is the won't get his points. Bringing him means you have to bench him.
Got Gorn, Sherry.
Okay. He's gone 3 primo rucks. So that makes sense.
To be honest, if I went 3 primo rucks, I probably wouldn't go Flynn.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
I mean, what's the because you're already playing a ruck in flex. I don't know what's the point. You're really only doing it for cash. You're not doing it for points. I think the value in Flynn for someone who's going to put him in flex is that you're going to take a Flynn score over your worst rookie, and hopefully now that West Coast go back to Sundays, we can start using loops again, and we can take a pot shot at one of the Essendon defenders, or this week we've got Lindsay on a Thursday night that I can emergency and stuff like that. So that's, I think, the real value in Flynn. Yes, the cash gen, but also the 90 points he might get over your worst rookie. Whereas if you just put him on the bench, I don't know if I'd bother.
Yeah. Is keeping the last boost essential? I wouldn't call it essential for if you're on your last boost now, I think you're probably going to be forced to hold it for a little while.
Yeah, I've got 2 left, and I'm really considering using my second last one this week. Is it essential that you keep it? Oh, look, no. You just got to know that if you use it, your best case scenario every week is 1 up, 1 down, or double down to 1 up, 1 down the week after. So it's a bit slower to do your upgrades. That's all.
Yeah. Here you go. Decided to bench Empower Pepper for Cleary 5 minutes before the game as I was scared Hurls would beat me in a matchup. Backfired with points and Robert's score nearly cost me. I just had a look at the matchup. He got you by 9 points. So all works out in the end.
There you go. Should have been 109 though. Here you go.
Yeah. That's it. Someone that we had all preseason that you're annoyed that you didn't start with. My one's fairly easy, because I had Jordan Clark for the entire preseason until the second last day and didn't go with him. And then basically I said, nah, I don't want him. And then he popped off the first 2 weeks. And I said, I'm getting Jordan Clark in.
Yeah. Two easy ones for me. One I've corrected and I've now got, and one I don't have yet. Jack Sinclair I had in the whole time. When he got injured, I got rid of him, and that hurt. and the other one is Baz. But I've corrected and I've got Baz now, so they're the two for me.
Kako to Flynn worth a boost? I'd say so.
Yeah, that's okay.
It's fair enough. We're just once again.
Kako's not making you much.
Nah, depending on how many boosts you have as well. But yes, it is worth the boost in my eyes.
Yeah.
Do you think we can move Hawthorn and bank his cash for some fancy animations for slides? You boys are doing a great job at guys.
we can get some animations for slides. Might not be mine or Deadly's strong suit though. I don't know how that'd work, but
I think the horse is at about Harry Boyd's stance right about now. He's played one game and fallen off. Seeking to upgrade, and no one is really on the bubble except Flynn and Carroll, who I'm not too keen on. Yeah, so
that's the hard
with
part.
the triple ruck stuff, it's so hard. That's why I sort of backed away from it after these sort of guys. It's hard.
And this is the hard part. Like we called this last week. Like if you remember back to the preview, I was really keen on a double downgrade this week because I really didn't even like Carroll coming into to next week. If I could avoid going Carroll, I even would. But then we got the bloody West Coast bloke Gross sub, so I couldn't do that trade. So I couldn't make enough cash. Now I've got no choice but to go Carroll. I just have to because he's 99k. I don't know, mate. The ones to look out for, and maybe look out for Deadly's, second tier wrap during the week. But maybe like a Boxall played well in the VFL. Does he get a game soon? Something like that. I don't know.
Someone has to come in for Zach Jones. He's been horrible.
It's a tough one. Like the Sardis return eventually. I don't know.
Even looking at next week, like I don't. When do Brisbane play? The fourth game. It'll be hard. If James Tunstall plays and is not the sub, he's probably the only one I could back going early on. But you'd have to just.
And is he going to last? He played okay, but Brisbane aren't really a team that's going to play rookies.
And they've got plenty of wingers out there. It's tough. It's really, really tough. These boys had Whitfield for the entire preseason and backed off. I was the same. I had him for a good chunk of it and backed off.
That would
Bustlinger is one that he should debut next week. I'm shocked he didn't debut this week. He's been easily Doggy's best in the VFL this start of this year, and I'll be shocked if he's not.
Yeah, your other options if you really want to be a bit creative, like Elijah Hewitt's only 180. You could go there. He's got the built-in score now into his system, so you could go someone like him. I mean, Gross, if he plays next week, he won't go up that much because he only got a small score. So there's those blokes who are not technically just on the bubble, but they've already had a price rise that haven't got out of reach. We saw it worked with Langford. You could have done it. But it's just we're starting to find creative ways, and this is why I'm going to definitely go Flynn this week, because if we're already looking for creative ways to find rookie cash at round 6, then when you get a gift horse like Flynn, I'm taking it.
Yeah, that's it. How much longer do we persist with Sheasel? I think I'm probably just going to hold through. I know what he's capable of.
The problem with Sheasel is if he stays in this murky role, he's probably the ceiling scores are probably gone. It's 100 sort of cap.
Yeah.
But if Clarko moves him to half back, he's going to get 140s like he did a couple of weeks ago. So it is a huge risk.
Yeah, that's it. Fishing for Fun has gone all in with Phil Thorpe to Track, Archer Reid to Flynn, and used the last boost going Will Ashcroft to Butters. I like them, especially if
I don't mind that.
Yeah, I like it a bit, especially if you're a decent far back. And fingers crossed it doesn't backfire.
I don't mind it at all.
Jonas, who said B team Horse and Squiddy have nothing on this father-son duo?
Father-son duo. Here we go.
I like that. And we'll end it off with this one. 2 hours and counting from your.
Hey, it's only 1 hour 58 by my reckoning. That's pretty good for us.
Doesn't seem too proud of it. No, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll leave it there. It's been a fantastic night. Hurls, thank you, mate, for jumping on and doing this with me. I'm bloody thankful for you. I don't know anyone else who could have done this with me, especially me behind the controls. Hopefully we didn't go too bad. Hopefully we don't get the sack.
Can I just say, and Horse will give us the feedback, I'm sure, but I think you did a great job, mate. You pressed all the right buttons. We got all the sponsors stuff in. We got through the games. We hopefully have been maybe not as entertaining as Squiddy or as smooth as Horse, but I think we did okay.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, we did our best, and look, if you rated us, drop a like. Give us a like.
Yeah.
If we
what do they call it? The triple banger. Give us the triple banger.
Be a triple banger. That's it.
That's it.
Like, comment, subscribe, turn on the bell. Yeah, that's
all of
about
that stuff.
All the fun stuff. But yeah, I've been Deadly. He's been Hurls. We've had fun tonight. We'll catch you on the preview show on Wednesday.
See you guys.
See you later.